Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm Yomesh Gupta, and in this video we are going to solve a question from Atlassian. We are going to talk about the front-end interview process, and we'll look at a question. Atlassian is a very big company, and I think it's fully remote with an office in Bangalore. They have a hiring drive going on, and currently people are referring for Atlassian, so I thought it would be a good time to prepare for their interview process so that we have more chances to clear their interview rounds. In this question we are going to build a tree like structure, which is an often asked in the interview process. Let me show you a quick example for this. So this is one of their products where we have in the sidebar this page tree, which is basically like a directory structure kind of a thing. And here there are, like, in this, two top level elements, and inside this there are multiple sub menus, and you can expand, and you'll have these leaf nodes. If you hover over it, then they will have an underline. Now each node can have multiple children, and inside each child there could be leaf node, or there could be some sub menus. So let's say if we open Apple, then there is this iOS articles and Mac articles, and if we open those, then there are another. So it could be n level deep. So we have to mimic this UI. I'll show you the demo in our system so far. So we have the same structure. We have the inside knowledge base articles. We have two items right now. They are again sub menus. If we open, then we have the leaf nodes here. And inside Apple, we have iOS articles and Mac articles. We can open them. And yes, if you see, there is some sort of minor animation going on here, and so we need to implement that also. And as a sibling to knowledge base articles, we have this leaf node Devtools Tech, and each uh, node here is a link. Like, if you, let's say this is hooked to React router, that if you click on it, then this content, the main content, changes, so we are routed to that particular page. So this is what we have to build. All this information is mentioned here with mockups. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So this is what we are getting from the platform right now. There is this component called sidebar, which we are importing. If we go to sidebar, it is just returning nothing right now. It is just an empty div with some text, and it is importing data. Let's check out data. So this is the data right now. Let's hold all. So this is the default export. It is an array of objects where each object is a node with ID, label, link, and same here. The only difference is that this contains children. So children is an optional field, and each child could be a node in itself where there are same keys, ID, label, link, and so on. Okay. And if we open any child, then it again iOS articles, and it contains children. So this is a sub menu. Okay, great. So now let's create a folder called components, and inside this we'll create something called directory. It could be, so this is just naming. You can name it tree or whatever you feel like. So so now what we are going to do, that whenever you get this question, then with practice, develop a process around it. That think about the solution, take a minute, read all the requirements and think about the solution, and try to break it down into achievable milestone. That maybe starting, we will build some basic layout components without any animation or something. Then we'll add functionality and styling on top of that, and then iteratively enhance our solution. So you have something to show for at every milestone, that even if you are not able to complete all the functionalities, you still have a working solution. So try to break down your question into smaller parts depending on the requirements mentioned by the interviewer. So inside this directory, we'll create a component called directory, which will just simply return a div, and inside this div, let's write nodes here for now. These are going to contain the nodes, and we'll make this the default export. inside our app, let's close the app. Inside our sidebar, let's import, or let's do one thing. Okay, first create, then we'll close this. We'll import the directory. Let me from directory, we'll import it, and let's invoke the directory here, and it's giving nodes, and let's take this data from here, and inside our directory we'll import the data, and inside the components folder, let's create another file called nodes.js, and we'll let me just copy this part here, and inside this nodes we'll create a default component. So this is basically our tree going to be, and we'll just import it here. I'm just creating basic components for now, just a basic layout structure, and so that we have a base to work on. So nothing changes because it returns the same thing, it is rendering the same thing. We'll pass the data here. Let's add a prop. So this is the data, which is basically an array, this array with two keys that we are passing to nodes, and inside the nodes we are going to get that data. So we are going to get nodes here. Now we have created all the files. Sidebar, we don't need sidebar. Let's open styles also, and let's go to nodes, and let's close this for now so that we have more real estate. And inside nodes we are going to, so if we, let's open this again once. So we see that there are a lot of keys here. So we have this particular node, then there are children. So first we'll render a basic version of it. So this would be an array. So we'll do nodes.map, and we'll get each node here, and inside this each node we'll pass the key, which would be node.id, and then we'll spread the remaining node. Now we'll create this node. This will have the id, or we don't need the id right now. We'll have the label and the link. If we see the data, each node can contain a label and a link for now. And what we are going to do is that we are going to maybe return or render this, that label, and this would be label right now, and we can have the href as link here. So you can use React routers link or something. I'm just rendering a basic thing right now. So we have this knowledge base and everything, and this nodes also, if we see that this nodes, these nodes, that each node is like a list item. So maybe we can do something like that. Inside the nodes we can have a ul and li, so that would make more sense semantically. So inside this what we can do is that we can have a ul with a class name of nodes, and we'll put it inside this, and we'll format the code. And inside this, since we have a ul here, we need an li. So we'll have an li here, list item. We'll cut this and we'll paste it here. It's the same thing. I'm just reorganizing it into a bit of more semantical structure. And what we can do here is we can say nodes and dot no, for each li. Right now we have the list style, so let's remove that because we would need custom icons. So we can say none, and if we go and check the requirements, then it says each node's text label color should be this one. So let's copy this, and let's go back to our styles and we'll say nodes.li.a. We can have a color of this, and we can have text decoration as none. See, now it's matching with our UI, started to match. So we have the both of the styling matching. Let's add the hover state also, node lia hover. We can say text decoration as underline. So this is working now. So if we go here, wait, why it's not hovering? Let me check. Let me refresh this. It says nodes li. Okay, we don't have nodes, so we it node it's would should be nodes. So yeah, so it's working fine now. Great. So now so we have added, now let's add the icon. So when you're solving, UI questions or problem solving questions, always keep in handy some common libraries that, let's say for this question you might need icons. So always be aware of couple of options for icons, couple of options for design system, or couple of options for illustration. So let's say one of the libraries, open source libraries, we can use React icons. So I'll just import it, React icon. It's now imported here. We can use it inside our code. So I'll import React icon. I'll import, let's say initially we'll add a circle. So from React icons slash fa. So we'll create a component called icon, and inside this, let's create this, or let's return this for now, fa circle with, let's add some style with a height of maybe 6 pixel, and inside this li, let's create a div and let's call it label because it's a label, and we'll move this here and we'll render the icon here. So if you see, we have the icon here. So what we can do is that this node lia, inside this, or let's wrap this entire thing inside a called node. That would be better, so we have more structure. Inside node there would be a label, and for node we can have something like, for this we can make it, so we'll have the node, and inside node if we have the label we can say display flex, and align items center, and we can say gap of 4 pixels. Okay, so now we have the gap and everything. So our, now let's add the another icons that we need. Two icons, that one is carried down. If you look here, one is carried down, and if when the state is open it is carried down, and when the state is closed then it is carried right. So we need to manage the state also. So for state management, what we can do here is that we can say we can need a variable to manage it. So we'll say use state from React, and inside the our node will manage the state here. Let's track it by a variable called set is open, and we can have use state, and initially it's false. Initially it's false, and if it's open then we will show some other icon, but we only need to show it that, and if it contains children. So we'll have the children here, and we can create a variable is parent node where we can compute it by if we have children, and children dot length, if it is present then we'll pass it to maybe an icon here. So we can pass is open, and we can pass is parent node, and when we come here we can say is open and is parent node. So if it's a parent, then we can return, maybe let's say a span. Inside this span, if it's open, so if it's open, then we need to return the down one. So I think it is called fa angle down, fa angle down, else it would be fa angle right, I think. Let me import these two also. So let's copy this one, then fa angle right. Let's format our code, formatting through this also. See, now we are having the right caret because this contains children and this is a leaf node, but it's still not aligned. So because when we add span, then there is a issue of the line height. So we can do something like node dot label dot span, and we can say line height equal to 0. And right now if I click on it, then nothing happens. That means we need to take care of the on click. So we come here, we can do something like that. On click, we'll pass the on click, that if we click on it, then we need to toggle set is open, negate of open, and we'll get the on click here and we'll pass it to span. So now the span is not, ideally in terms of accessibility, span should not be, a clickable item, but for the sake of keeping it simple, I'm using it. But it's better that you don't use it. I mean, you can try using a button or play around, or maybe with an li or something more in terms of accessibility, more clickable item. Okay, clickable html tag to be exact. Now if I click on this, then this changes, but nothing happens because we are not rendering the children. But also it's a, we can change the icon to cursor. So if I go to styles, I can say to span, I can make it like a pointer, so this would be better. So for the this icon we have a cursor, and for a leaf node we don't have the cursor, so it's working fine so far. Now let's render the children. So what we can do is that we know that we have the children here and this is our node. So if it's a parent node and if it's open, then we need to render the children. So this would be, let's give it a class called node contents maybe, or content. Inside this, let's just render a normal text. Oh, sorry. So let's just render normal text for now. If I click on it, then we are rendering the children, and if I click on it again, then it is closing it. Okay, so far so good, but we need to render these all these items. So again here, this is, we are, if you see that we have this wrapper called nodes, or this root component, and this node will contain a ul, like, and it's a contains a list where each list is a node. Inside each list we have this node, so we need to repeat this. It's like recursive call. So what we can do here is that we can call the nodes here, and now initially this this nodes property contains the top level elements. Now when we, if we check the data, will come to this first item, will render it as a node. Now we render the nodes component again, and this children key will become nodes for the second level. So if I go here and if I go to nodes again, and inside this will pass nodes as children. So see, now if it's open right now, if I close this, let me zoom in and show you. So if I click on it, then there is this academic technologies and Apple, and if I open, then all the leaf nodes inside that, and inside Apple we have iOS and Mac articles, and similarly everything is working. But right now everything looks like a sibling. They should be indented, like indentation should be proper. So let's fix that quickly. So if I show you the structure to just to make you clear, if I select this, so we'll see that we have a sidebar. Inside this we have top level UL there, then we have an LI where we have a node, and inside node if I open this, then we have node content, and inside node content we have nodes again, which are these two nodes, and inside these two nodes we have again Li. So this cycle repeat itself. So we need to apply indentation to all the nodes that are inside a node content. Okay, so how can we do that? So if node content dot uh, inside the node content we can apply a padding left to the UL. Let's say we can say 16 pixel. So now if you see that every element is auto indented because this is nodes, then we have an Li, inside Li we have node content, and inside node content there is another UL, and we are applying padding to each UL here. So that's why they are automatically indented if you see. So if we check right now to all our requirements that menu should be collapsible, we are doing that. Each node is a link. uh, at every level it could be a children or a terminal node. Right caret when it's closed and down caret when it's in open state, that we are handling properly. Indentation should be proper, that's we are handling, and we are adding the color also. So our basic functionality is done. So we have built like a phase one where we have built all the structure and indentation and handling the children, icons and everything. Now let's add animation that was shown in the demo. So for animation, like I mentioned that, when you approach a question or when you approach an interview, then always keep a couple of libraries handy. So for animation, we can add Framer Motion. uh, so we'll search it and we'll add it. Now if I go back, so the animation we need right now is that when we click on it, then our content should expand, and like the height should be expanded, and we'll see the content and it should be smooth. So it would mount and unmount kind of a thing. So let me import animate presence from Framer Motion. So this component is basically going to help us to animate the exit and entry of children. And we would also require something called motion. This is going to help us define the HTML structure. So the part where need to animate the entry and exit, will wrap it inside animate presence, and we'll change this div to motion.div so that it can control and apply transform and everything properties. So right now nothing is happening, so it's saying react.useID is not a function because I think it needs React 18. So let's update this. So we'll search for React. It's searching, we'll get React 18. It's updated. Let's update React DOM also. Right now it's 17.0.2, it's 18.0.2, so it's updated now. It should work. So if I click on it, then nothing happens because we haven't added our animation. So inside our motion div, let's define our animation. So for Framer Motion, it works like that. You need to define variants. Basically a variant is something which is like states, different states. So it could be collapsed, or for collapsed we will define that our height is 0 and our opacity is also 0. So this is a collapsed state. Now the other could be open maybe, or expanded. I'm just using open, where height can be auto and our opacity is 1. Now we have defined our two variants. Now we need to assign these variants. So initially, for initial we are in collapse state. When we going to do the entry to, or the state to which we need to animate to, so we'll pass the animate and we'll assign the variant open. And when we exit, then again we need to be collapsed. So Now if you check the demo, see, we have this basic animation. Now we can control all sort of things. Now let's say we can pass this property called transition. Inside this, let's say duration, we want to make it 0.5, so it will take 0.5 seconds. See, it's a bit slow now. Let's say if I make it zero point 0.2, then it would be a bit faster. Let me zoom in and show you so it's more clear. See, we have this basic animation. Now you can, I'm just showing you a basic version. You can refine as you want. You can pass easing functions. You can, define your variants in a better way. So I'm just showing you a basic how to use frame of motion in this, or how to add basic animation. So you can use a library, you can use some CSS vanilla keyframes. This is the same thing. Now if you remember the demo, then we need to animate this icon also. So we'll go to our icon. We can use maybe motion.span here. And so what I like to do in such cases is that I want to use a single icon and animate that icon. So let's say I want to animate the rotate property, that if it's open, then I'll rotate it by 90 degrees, else it would be 0. So let's say we keep the right one only now, and we remove this. And now if I see the demo here, if I click on this, you'll see that there is this animation now to the right. So basically what we are doing is that we are rendering the right icon or right caret icon only, but if the state is open, then we are rotating it by 90 degrees. That's all. Now it's up to you. If you want to rotate it by 180, then it will become left. If a bit more than that, then it would point upwards. So that's up to you. I think this would be, simple enough for this. Else, what else is needed? Let's clean up the code a bit. Let's remove this. I think that's done. Now, you can create multiple files that maybe this nodes in one file, node component in another file, and icon in another. This is just the components are simple, and it's just 80 lines, 85 lines roughly. So that's why I created everything in the single file only. If it's a bigger question where you have to create a lot of moving parts, then I would advise that you keep it in different files. Like I created components, you create different folder inside it, and each file should have house one component or max to max two components which are related. Also, this is the, this version is done where we created the structure, we added the styling functionality, we added the animations. Now you can take this step forward, that if I click on it, then some content is rendered, and when this page is active, then you can, hook it with React router and see if the link passed to a node matches the current URL. Then you can apply some active class to the a tag and make it the text as bold or something like that, to highlight that it is active or inactive. Also, right now what happening is that in the sidebar, in the directory, we are passing all the data to nodes. Maybe there could be a scenario where we have lot of directories and trees, and when we open something, then we fetch it on runtime. So this could be a follow-up question from the interviewer, that how would you change this, that initially you will get just top level elements, and when you open a certain sub menu, then it should fetch the data dynamically. So in that case, uh, you need to see and implement some sort of fetching mechanism inside the nodes array, that before rendering the children, or maybe inside a node you can say that you can pass a key to server or maybe some function, and based on that key it will return you the children. And if you have the children, then you'll render it, else we'll keep it as or let's say inside this data, rather than having a children key, it just contains a boolean called like has children or something, or contains children's or something like that. And if it is true, then you pass the ID to the server, and server will return you the array of children, and so on. So this could be a follow-up, but That's pretty much it. It's a commonly asked question, so I would definitely say that try it out. And once you're done, then submit it and share your submission across social media. Share it with me. So this is the end of the video. I hope you were able to learn something new today. If you see that I made some mistake, or if you have a better way to solve this or some more optimal way, then please feel free to reach out. Feel free to share your submission with me. And as always, please do like, share and subscribe. It means a lot. I'm trying to be regular. I'm trying to bring more unique and relevant content for you all. So your submissions and your support would means a lot. And there are links on the web on the screen if you want to practice the question with me, or just want to have someone like a guide or a friend or a colleague to bounce around ideas or practice for upcoming interviews. Then you can book a session with me. And if you don't know where to start, then just go to devtools.tech/practice. It will give you a random question. Just try one question a day, and that would be a good start. So till next time, see you, take care, bye bye.